Hey everybody, Jason Sharman here. In today's episode, I speak with Dana Samuelson, founder and president of American Gold Exchange. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Jason. Thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
I'm excited. We're going to be talking about investing in precious metals and rare coins. Anybody who knows me personally knows I do not shut up about buying silver and gold, whether it's rounds or, Morgan silver dollars or buying any kind of gold, and I see Costco's always selling it. So I'm always sending people links like, hey, Costco's got a deal on gold and you can get that 2% executive cash back. So get it now while the dollar is being devalued. Let's just talk a little bit about, before we go into some details, why should people in the first place even bother buying gold and silver versus holding cash, which is, the way we spend money?
In a word, inflation. We've been through a period in the last 10 to 12 years where inflation was really mild. And then in the last 2 or 3 years, it's accelerated to over 9% at one point in time, which is just a loss of purchasing power of the dollar. And what have gold and silver done in response? They've gained value relative to the dollar. So gold and silver are a better way to hold savings than inside of a depreciating asset. And when you think about it, our debt just keeps going higher and higher, and the government keeps printing more and more money. So it's a dilution of value overall. And then when you get an inflationary burst, you really feel it.
Yeah, you just said like the government is, they have this 30 trillion debt and they keep printing money. The money printer goes burr, as they say, but they're not really printing money, right? It's just like digital numbers in a ledger saying we're just going to have this much more money out in the public to be used, and we're buying more treasuries. And to me, it just seems like it's all kind of fake, right? So like, can you talk a little bit about what they're actually printing and where this money is coming from and how it's being spent?
Well, it's really just a growth of debt, the obligations that the U.S. owes. It's really what it is. So our debt just keeps increasing. And we've financed that through the sale of our bonds to pensions and other governments, that supplement the fact that we spend more money every year than we take in taxes. So we have a financial deficit, and the selling of our treasuries allows us to finance that deficit. Now we're getting to the point where our debt has gone from 7 trillion in 2004 to 17 trillion in 2014. It more than doubled, and now it's 2024. It's doubled again.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's crazy. So
That's
going
nuts.
through a bit of a debt spiral, and our debt service is now $1 trillion a year just in interest.
Wow. That's
interest.
And to just kind of fathom how much 30 plus trillion dollars is kind of hard to even think about, because we always say like $1 billion is so much money, right? But $1 trillion, I can't even, that's so it's a bit crazy. We need to protect our savings, and we need to protect our assets. And I always tell people, if God forbid something happens and there's a bank run and people go to get their money, then what do you have? You have digital numbers on a ledger that again says you have this much money, but the bank can't give you the money because they went bankrupt or whatever. But if you have gold and silver coins stashed away and you're safe at home, you physically have the value of the money that it's worth. Is that kind of what the gist is?
Yeah, you have something that's immediately liquid, always sellable to a reputable dealer like myself. It's portable, it's transferable, and it's impervious to the ravages of things like inflation. Tends to be impervious most of the time, not always, but most of the time. So, in 1964, our quarters were silver.
Right.
And in 1965, we took the silver out of the quarters and they're copper nickel like they are in our pocket today. In 1964, that silver quarter would buy you a gallon of gas.
Wow.
In 1965, that copper nickel quarter would buy you a gallon of gas. Today, the copper nickel quarter gets you what? Less than 1/10 of a gallon of gas, where the silver quarter gets you 1.5 gallons.
Right.
Almost 2 gallons a day. That's something that we can all tell how silver holds its purchasing power like gold over time. That's the relevant example for modern times.
Right. And that's a good example. I always tell people, like, if there was an apocalyptic event and all of a sudden my silver dimes and nickels and quarters are all worth $5 a piece or whatnot, do you think I can then spend those coins to buy the gas and the food and other things that I need, or is that not going to be a scenario that might happen in the future?
Well, we're not used to bartering in the U.S. Other countries and places there are where they've had currency problems, like Argentina or Venezuela, who've had rampant inflation. That's more of a bartering economy. With the world's reserve currency of the dollar, we have the stability and the world-renowned use of the dollar. So we're insulated from some of the issues. But if the dollar were ever to be shunned or not trusted, we're all going to be trading by the seat of our pants.
Right. And like the BRICS thing I keep
negotiate.
seeing online about BRICS, they're saying like, why are we using the dollar? Let's use other currencies, maybe even peg currencies to oil and gold. So it seems to be heading in that direction. Do you think it's ever going to happen where the US dollar is not the global currency?
Well, every world reserve currency has been replaced by something else at some point in time. It's usually about a 100-year period. And for the US now, we're about 80 years along, and the world's reserve currency tends to last a little bit longer than it should. The British pound should have ended in the 20s, and it made it through a World War II.
Okay.
And with the BRICS movement, there are countries that don't want to have obligations to the US in the form of treasuries or the dollar because they don't want to be sanctioned, like we sanctioned Russia and we've sanctioned Iran. Right. So they're shunning, our debt, our treasuries, and they are buying gold. And that's one of the reasons gold is at a record high right now. Is central banks around the world have been buying at record rates.
Yeah, I saw it's closer to 2,800, getting to the 3,000 range. It seems like it now. I went to a flea market with my girlfriend recently, and I kind of made her buy her first piece of silver. It was a Morgan silver dollar, and she didn't really understand why it was worth money. And I explained, it was issued to people as a currency. It's a real dollar. You can still spend it as a dollar, although you don't want to do that because it's $25 now. What's the difference between buying just like a silver bar or a gold bar and like say an American silver eagle, which is a $5 or $1 or whatever the actual currency face value is? Why is that? What's the difference?
Okay, so there's different ways to buy the physical products. So bars that are made by refineries are one alternative. You can buy a 1 ounce silver bar, 1 ounce silver round that has no sovereign mint behind it. And by sovereign mint, I mean a government mint, the US Mint, the Canadian Mint. So that's one way to buy precious metals. And it tends to be cost effective, although there are modest problems, growing problems with Chinese counterfeits. So you have to be careful. The Chinese are knocking off the bars which have plain designs and they're easy to replicate. Or you can buy sovereign minted bullion pieces made by the US Mint, the Royal Canadian Mint, the Austrian Mint are the three most popular mints. And everything the US Mint makes has to have a face value on it. So that's why a silver eagle has a $1 face value, even though it's worth $37 today.
Yeah, why would you spend it for the dollar? That's the part that I never quite understood is why the face value is so important. Are you able to say take 10 gold coins over in an airplane and say I only have $10 on me versus $20,000, and then you're passing that 10,000 threshold? Are you allowed to do that, or is that not part of the deal?
Well, a gold eagle that the US Mint makes has a $50 face value.
Okay.
So technically 20 of those is $1,000.
Awesome. Now I need a quick minute for a little boost. You all know how much I love staying ahead of the game, always exploring ways to enhance productivity and maintain my energy levels throughout the day. That's why I'm excited to share something that has truly been a game changer for me, Magic Mind, the world's first mental performance shot. As a creator, I've experimented with countless products to help with energy and focus, but Magic Mind is in a league of its own. It's not just about that immediate boost of energy. It's the lasting clarity and focus that makes all the difference. Whether I'm deep in podcast production or powering through long creative sessions, it helps me stay locked in and productive without the dreaded crash that coffee can give me. One of the things that sets Magic Mind apart is its all-natural ingredient profile. We're talking powerhouse ingredients like lion's mane mushroom, Bacopa Monnieri, and ceremonial-grade matcha. These ingredients are carefully sourced, and they're not just a label gimmick. They actually work. I love that it's clean and effective, giving me that extra mental edge without any jitters or burnout. And here's the cool part. You can try Magic Mind for free. Yeah, just cover the shipping cost and get a trial pack to see the difference for yourself. Use my special link and code in the description to take advantage of this limited time offer. And if you love it like I do, you can subscribe and save up to 40% off just by using my code JasonSherman40. That's JASONSHERMAN 40, with the flexibility to cancel anytime. Though honestly, I doubt you're going to want to. So, if you're looking to elevate your mental performance and stay sharp all day, give Magic Mind a try. Trust me, it's worth it. Stay creative, stay focused, and now let's get back to our guest. Right, are you allowed to take that $1,000 with you on a plane and say this is $1,000, or they're going to still say no, it's the value of the gold?
Well, in reality, it's about $27,500 today. So you could argue that it's face value, but if you get a good customs agent or a good currency control agent, they're going to know the difference, and you potentially forfeit, or you could have your gold seized. So that's a technicality. The face value is just a technicality. By law, they have to have a face value on it.
All right. So let's say a new person here wants to buy some gold today or silver. I'm a big silver guy because I like to buy like a large variety of it. And I've been buying it for years, and I got lucky where I bought it really, really, really cheap years ago. So I was able to get like a nice variety. But then again, people are like, well, why do I care? I just want to get my investment. I just want to like get my money, get it out of cash, put it into something I can keep at home in a safe. So why should people care about the numismatic value of coins? Why should they get those like really old ones that are special? Why not just buy silver rounds and bars and gold bars and rounds?
Well, there's a couple different markets you're referring to. The old vintage coins that were made back as money and used as currency back in the day that are no longer around, those have collector value, modest to extreme, depending upon how scarce they are. And it's based on number of units made at the time, and more importantly, how many survive today, and then even more importantly, how many survive in nice condition today. So that's a collector market. That's a supply and demand market. If you just want to own metal ounces, I think the best way to go are to buy the sovereign minted 1 ounce gold and silver coins made by the US Mint, the Canadian Mint, or the Austrian Mint. If they were ice cream, I'd call them vanilla, chocolate, and strawberry for the 3 most popular, widely traded, competitively priced, and most importantly, easy to sell items if you want to cash them in. I would tend to shy away from bars because of the Chinese counterfeiting problem. I think in the future,
even if you're buying them from reputable dealers?
Yeah, but I think we're going to have a sellability problem in the future with bars, where if you've bought a bar from another reputable dealer and you bring it to me and it's 10 years from now, and the Chinese just keep making more and more counterfeit bars, they're going to...
But aren't you able to figure out if it's counterfeit or not?
Well, we can test them,
okay.
But the ultimate test is either to melt it into pure form and have it assayed if it's not already pure, or put a drill through it, right? So I think there'll be a settlement problem, a delay in getting you paid, where the mints around the world have started to add minute microscopic design elements to their coins, which are really just round bars with a face value on them, to combat Chinese counterfeits.
So let me ask you a question, because I know a lot of people they're going to want to ask me this, and I have you on the air here, so I got to ask you. A lot of people I know have spent decades probably buying bars and rounds not sovereign minted, only because they were trying to invest in precious metals. Are you saying that it's a smart move to then take those bars and rounds now and convert them into sovereign minted, say, gold coins, just so that it's more legit?
If you have documentation that shows when and where you bought them, I don't think that will be an issue, because you have a provenance on the issues, right?
Got it.
And it's a problem that's really started coming up about 2016, 2017, and it keeps growing. So stuff that was made prior to then, and with bars that don't have a date on them, you can't tell
right
when they were made.
But the receipts from the reputable dealer is kind of like your backup.
Yeah, that'll help a lot. Exactly. Now, not everybody's going to have that, right? So
I kept all mine.
Yeah, good. That's important, because I want to know where it came from as a buyer. Because if you bring me, say, a kilogram bar of gold, which is $50,000, $70,000, and it's tungsten plated in the middle, it's a bad deal for me,
Yeah,
right?
that's not
I
good.
literally had a very famous football player bring me 14 of them.
Whoa.
And one of them, the color was off because someone had polished it.
Oh,
Sounded right. It tested right. It looked okay, but the color was wrong. And I literally told him, I want to put a drill through this bar. And if it's gold all the way through, I'll still buy it at the rate I told you. But if it's not, you get to keep a bar that's bad with a hole in it. And he said, go ahead and drill it because he knew the provenance on the bar. He got it from a good dealer. So, and that's what I did. I drilled it.
so
And
there was, and
he was really big. I didn't want to upset him.
I was going to say, he is a gold brick. You got to watch it. Something that people bring up to me all the time is, that they don't understand why they should be buying precious metals more than buying the stocks, right? The stock market is so easy to just sign up for a stock account, buy your stocks. And I always tell them, yeah, but that could be risky if you're not doing the S&P 500. You could lose all your money. Then a lot of people like to buy Bitcoin and real estate. And I tell people, look, I'm not an investor. I'm not giving financial advice here, but I always tell people, keep your bread and butter, which is your S&P 500, your retirement account, right? Your 401k, keep all those active, and then maybe put in a small percentage that you feel comfortable with in buying some precious metals, some Bitcoin, and maybe own a real estate investment property. One of each, really, to kind of round out your portfolio. What's your advice to give people as to how they should maybe invest their savings, and what's your take on how precious metals are going to kind of evolve in the future?
Well, we've seen studies that go back 30 years that say if you have 5 to 10% of your net assets in precious metals, you have a good hedge against financial uncertainty without losing opportunity in other investment sectors. And I really think that's a really good rule of thumb. So 5 to 10% is enough. And when we've had financial trouble, like the great financial crisis or when COVID hit, what happened? Gold doubled in price. It's doubled again now.
That's
And
crazy.
silver has gone up multiples in results to these crises. So that's why you have an insurance policy for the rest of your money. Having diversification is a good thing. I do love real estate, especially when you can have a rental property where someone else is buying that for you by paying the mortgage for you and giving you positive cash flow. I do think there's a place for stocks and bonds in a balanced, diversified portfolio. You can buy gold and silver on paper via ETFs, exchange traded funds, and there's a couple out there, but it's not really the way to hold the metal
Right.
in the long run. It's a good way to trade price movement if you think they're going up or down, and you can go long or short precious metals via ETFs. It's very cost effective. But to have precious metals, really the reason you want to have them is to own them yourself. You control it. It's just like a savings account, only it's not in the bank. It's your own bank that you control.
I love that. And where can people find out more about what you guys do and possibly even buy their first silver or gold bar or coin?
Well, I do think silver is undervalued, especially relative to gold today. So silver is a good deal still, even though they're both higher in price. My company is American Gold Exchange. We're a national physical precious metals dealership and vintage coin dealership out of Austin, Texas. Our website is AMERGOLD.com, AmerGold.com. And if you want to email, just put info in front of AmerGold, info at AMERGOLD.com to get a conversation started, or call 800-613-9323.
Love it, Dana. That was so awesome. Hope you guys maybe invest in some gold and silver. Go to AMERGold.com and get your first coin and retain the value of your dirty money, because that stuff's going out the window from what I'm hearing. Thanks again, Dana. We'll see you guys in the next episode.